Listen,
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
we know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
As I've said before, there's no human being I'd rather be talking to than Michael Kopech.
Appreciate it.
It's always good to see you. It's good to see you throwing 102 miles an hour in a playoff game. As someone who has never done that, it's kind of was a surprise. Now, you've thrown 102 before.
Yeah, well, I was younger, but yeah.
Yeah. What was the hardest you've ever thrown?
So I don't know if it was TrackMan official or anything like that, but in 2016, when I was with the Red Sox organization in Salem, I had hit 105.
You did?
That was what was reported to me.
Listen.
I don't know how accurate that is, and tails grow and grow, but that's what was reported to me.
They used to do the running thing too, where you threw 110.
The running gun, I did that, yeah. But that was with a lighter ball.
Oh, was?
Yeah.
I don't know how these things. All I see is the numbers. But I've never thrown 102 anywhere, but especially in a postseason game. So, and neither had you, right?
Right.
So how does it hit different? How many miles per hour do you think it is because it is you try to say it's just a game, but man, it looks like something other than just a game.
Yeah. So I think. So I've hit 102 a couple other times throughout the season this year. But truthfully, those were points in the season where I was either fresh off of some rest or it was early and I felt really good. And truthfully, and this isn't just me saying this right now, it's just the shape that everybody's in the postseason.
Yeah.
Everybody's got some ailments.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody's banged up a little bit. It's been a long year. So I would say that if that wasn't a postseason game, I might be touching 99.
So, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of level extra adrenaline that you get through some of that. You don't notice the soreness until the minute you're done pitching, and then all of it hits you. But yeah, I think that's just the adrenaline in the postseason.
So you haven't not done it. Did you expect that? You watched it on TV, did you expect that?
Kinda. I mean, not necessarily expect 102. I expected some adrenaline boost for sure. I pitched in one postseason before in 21, and I got a little bit of that then. I think that for the most of that year, I'd been getting up to about 98, 99, maybe touching 100, and then I touched 101 in the postseason. And so it was similar to that.
How did it? Was it different at all?
Yeah, it just feels different. You don't really, you can feel the rhythm and the timing of your body, but you don't feel specific tight spots or anything like that. It's kind of a blur, honestly, and I don't know if I can exactly put it into words. This is my second postseason. I know we got guys on this team that have had over a decade of postseasons, so. I'm still getting used to it.
But I'm saying it's cool. Yeah. Of course, it's cool. But this is the reaction is there's the performance and even the reaction of right and one of the unnamed players on this team who wears baseball's and boring Japanese shirt everywhere. I mean, he has this moment where he strikes out the side in 2018 in the World Series and comes off and he's like, "Fuck yeah," right? Yeah. But that's sort of you could say that is it seems like that is how it feels, encapsulates how it feels, right? Was that how it felt? I don't know if you said that, but
I mean, I said something probably similar.
Yeah.
For me, I pitch a little bit more with my emotions on my sleeve than the guy that we all know you're talking about.
Yeah.
He does a great job of not letting it, boil over, and if he does show emotion, it's a really big moment. I do a little bit more of wearing my emotions on my sleeve when I pitch. Not necessarily ride with the ups and downs, but if I get excited, I'll be excited, and then in the postseason, there's just that much more adrenaline, that much more excitement. It's it's really easy to let it out for me.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all. I mean, it's good any time. Just be honest with you.
Yeah, I enjoy enjoying the moments. I think it's the best way to.
Have
put
you
it.
always been there? I mean,
I think for a long time, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And then past couple years, I've battled with myself about like not wanting to get too up or too down, which I think is still valid.
is that because you're starting?
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think that it's okay to be excited when something exciting happens, even as a starter. I think we saw it quite a bit with guys that were pitching really well this year. Crochet comes to mind because I spent a lot of time in Chicago. He'll let out some excitement when he's out there dominating, and he doesn't necessarily hold it in until it's done.
Yeah.
And then we saw the same thing with Scooble this postseason.
Yeah.
Those two guys are dominating and they're rolling, and I think it's okay to enjoy the game while you're playing the game.
When you were in high school, was you that way?
Yeah.
Really?
I was probably a little more vocal then.
You talked crap.
Yeah,
like
I was a little chirpy.
Were you?
Yeah, I was a little. Excuse my language. I was a little bit of a shithead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, who wasn't in high school?
Yeah,
really?
so I'm not that way anymore. Yeah. But I'm not embarrassed to get excited for sure.
No, but it's good. But it's also like to understand, like you said, the evolution of you, like the evolution of emotions. I mean, emotions in every part of life. This is, I think, one of the things that probably you'd say this has really helped you bobbing and weaving until you sort of lock in, okay, this is what will work best for me, right?
Yeah. And I think it may not be that. I don't want to say it's an unhealthy way to look at the game. I just say what I'm thinking though. Like I think a lot of guys use this game as their outlet, their therapy, if you want to call it that. And I've done that. You know, the traumas that we navigate individually in our lives are, everybody's got their own story. Mm-hmm. So we deal with that, and when we come here, this is where we are able to let everything out. And pitching and competing, I think a lot of us is so just ingrained in who we are at this point. Not that it's our identity, so to speak, but we've navigated a life around competing on the baseball field. So when we do that and we're able to do that to the highest level, I don't think there's anything as relieving as that, other than getting to hang it up when the day is over and go home to your family. You know what I mean? So it's like those are the two outlets that I have, and to be able to use that as freely as possible means a lot to me. So in the past, when I had kind of like tried to cap my emotions and not let them get too high, just so I wouldn't get too low if I didn't bounce back or whatever, like I'm glad that I've kind of like freed myself up from that a little bit.
Maybe this is when you can't, I don't know, but when was that turning point for you? Was there a turning point for you?
I think it evolved over the course of this season, being back in the bullpen. I don't think it was strictly from being in the bullpen, but to be honest, like I came into this season expecting to be a starter, and I worked really hard to do that. And when that opportunity was taken away from me in spring training, I wasn't ready to let go of it. So I had a lot of bitterness throughout the first couple weeks of the season, couple months of the season, maybe even. And then I realized I could go out there and just really play to my strengths, which was a learning curve on its own. But what I've always liked to do is throw hard.
You didn't have to save those bullets, at the start.
I just got to go out there and honestly, I think guys shy away from saying this, but I'll just say it. I got to go out there and throw as hard as I could every pitch. Yeah. And when I was able to do that and kind of freed myself up to just throw hard in the strike zone, I think it made me more of myself on the mound. That's who I am. I have one throttle and I gear it up and I go. Now I needed to mix pitches and throw sliders and what have you. That was a learning curve throughout the season, but that was for the most part, just getting freed up.
Can I not to play like amateur psychologist, but it must have made you feel good overall. Like it must have made you, when you accepted that, when you got that feeling and you were good at it, and then like it was like because you like you just said, this is, like it or not, this is sort of this whole deal is all encompassing for us, right?
For sure.
So,
for sure.
but it must in other words, it must have made you happy, a happier person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I let go of that bitterness of not being a starter anymore and going back to just being who I was as an amateur baseball player, what got me here was that I have a strong arm. That's not the case for everybody, but that's what got me drafted, that's what got me signed, that's what got me into professional baseball, and ultimately it's probably what got me to the big leagues. So to kind of find that again and compete with that very tool, it made me feel really good.
Another thing, going back to the unnamed player, which we will now name as Joe Kelly.
Yeah, okay.
But, when I saw you guys in Miami, we were talking about this, about getting like the playoffs, and his record in the playoffs is really, really good. And a lot of it is because he's able to sort of like, he's like, big moment. It's not a big moment. It's not. And a lot of guys say that. Yeah. But I think there is that mentality of being able to separate to, hey, I'm on the mound, I'm pitching. It's okay.
Baseball's not boring, is it?
Oh,
It's definitely not.
See? Anyway, so he says, and I've seen him pitch in the postseason, and it's like literally it's just a mindset of whatever. And that's a hard place to get to.
For sure.
Yeah.
And him and I had talked about that actually before we got to the postseason. We know we were going to be in the playoffs this year, and so I talked to him leading up to this, and that's how he approaches every game, is that he just, like, it's almost like he doesn't care, but it's not that it's
no, that's like, exactly what he said. He's like,
But at the same time, like, he's competing. So it's not, I think not caring may not be the best way to put it, but like he goes out there and he doesn't treat it like it's bigger than life, like, which I think a lot of people can do, and with everything around it, I think they can put that on the game. But at the end of the day, like, whatever the outside of it is, whatever you're playing, whatever that game means, or you're playing for, it comes down to the game within the game, which is competing against the guy in the box.
Yeah.
And every single game, I think, if we're able to compete with the guy in the box and just not have anything slip in, like this guy's better than me or whatever, anything like that, like then you're competing to the best of your ability. And if you're doing that, it's going to show up on the biggest stage.
Right. And it doesn't, having now done it how many times you've pitched in the postseason? 3?
So I got 4 out of 5 in the division series, and then I had a couple back in 21.
Okay, so the thing that we started this whole thing off, throwing 102, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, well, that was the evolution of you in the postseason.
For sure.
So I would imagine that felt different, like that you have taken, whether it's Joe's advice, whether experience and everything. It's like, okay, I feel like I'm getting a handle on this postseason thing.
For sure. And it's like, it's not worrying about judgment in the game either.
Yeah, that's another big thing, right?
Yeah, like, I think Joe's the best at that.
Yeah.
I think Joe is the best in baseball at not giving a damn about what other people think about him. Mm-hmm. And I say that as the highest compliment, because like it's one of the hardest things to do in this game. What freed me up my last game was that I had to warm up on the field in front of 50,000 people, and I sailed the ball to the backstop. I was like, oh, I can embarrass myself and then pitch. You know what I mean? Like, if I just did that, which is like the most embarrassing thing I feel like I could do, is yip a ball in front of 53,000 people. Then I can pitch in front of 53,000 people, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And that's what you did.
Yeah, so that to me, it's like getting away from the judgment, freeing yourself up from judgment, and then being able to just do what you have to do.
It's funny you say that, though, because it's we talk about the book, writing a book.
Yeah.
You don't write a book unless you don't give a shit.
Yeah,
while you're
honestly,
playing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I hadn't even thought about that, but it's very true.
There's a reason why like active players don't write books.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and you know what happened? Nothing bad, only good.
Yeah, for
only
sure.
good. And so when you understand that, it's like it's just like it's all going to be good.
Yeah.
So
which is, I think says a lot, and I did the same thing, but says a lot about him, like not being on social media and stuff. It's like, I don't think he's running from anything, but it's just like, who cares what anybody has to say about what you're doing? Like, you know what your job is, you know if you're good at it or not, and then you can go out there and execute. Like, judgment's going to happen whether we like it or not. We don't have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's all good things.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope this is getting you ready.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a good conversation. I
Good
appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Listen, we're both human, so thanks, man.
Yeah.